Today we'll be looking at another set of testing vocabulary. Like the other lists we've gone over in this category, these will be words you'll run into during tests at every level of your education. You'll probably know many of these words, but it helps to review and also take a deeper look at words like this, particularly before you have a big test to take. Let's go ahead and get started. These are our 10 words on our list. To pronounce them, the first are point of view. Number 2 is emphasize. 3, highlight. 4, address or address. Number 5, refer. 6, cite. 7, reinforce. Number 8, restate. 9, develop. 10, convey. Word number 1 is point of view. Your point of view is your mental position from which things are perceived. To make that a little bit more understandable, if you flip point of view around and take out of, you get viewpoint. Your point of view is just your viewpoint. It's your perspective. It's how you feel about things. It's the way you see things either physically or mentally. An author's point of view is their stance on a particular issue. Sometimes it's used literally, as in if you're standing on the top of a building looking out at a city in front of you, that's your point of view or your viewpoint on the city in front of you. But most of the times when we're taking it in a test or using it in a test, it's asking your mental point of view, the way you see things, the way you feel about things, or the way an author feels about things. Our next word is emphasize. To emphasize is to stress or single something out as important. To emphasize is to stress or call attention to something. Writers use a variety of techniques to emphasize certain ideas or to bring them forth and put them at the forefront. To emphasize is to make that thing important. You may have a teacher or professor say something over and over and over again. They are emphasizing that point so that you know that it's important. Word number 3 is highlight. To highlight is to move something into the foreground to make it more visible or prominent. It's like if you take a highlighter and you highlight something yellow, you're trying to set that thing apart. To highlight is to emphasize, the word we just talked about. It's to bring something in front, in view, and make everybody know that it's important. Think of when, like I said, you take a highlighter to make certain words stand out. If I make something yellow, orange, green, etc., it's going to be easier for people to see. Writers highlight ideas without highlighters. They use language, they use words to bring certain things to the forefront and emphasize them or highlight them for the reader. Term number 4 is address or address. To address something is to direct one's efforts towards something, such as a question. Although the word address might make you think of your street address, when you see address on a standardized test, it is most likely being used in the sense of to discuss a topic or an issue. For example, a reading passage might address the effects of automobiles on air pollution. It's covering that topic. If you're addressing that topic, you are covering that topic in detail. Term number 5 is to refer to something. It's refer. To refer is to make a remark that calls attention to it. We're having a lot of words about bringing something to the forefront, calling attention to it. On tests, you'll see refer a lot, especially in questions that read, the author refers to this primarily to suggest blank. In this context, refers to means bring something up. You might also see the noun form reference used in a similar way. If you're asked what they're referring to, you're being asked what they're talking about or what they're bringing attention to. What are they saying is important? Term number 6 is cite with a C. Cite means to refer to for illustration or proof. The verb cite has nothing to do with the nouns cite with an S, S-I-G-H-T, or cite, S-I-T-E. When you cite something, you are giving credit where credit is due in a piece of writing. You can cite a source formally with what we call a citation, like you would in a research paper. Or you can informally cite something as you refer to it in a piece of writing. So think of cite as being giving credit to someone else or using somebody else's ideas to help support your own. You could cite something in a bibliography at the end of a document by putting the website that you went to or the author's name. Or you could refer to an author and what they said in your paper, and that would be citing that author. Number 7 is reinforce. To reinforce something is to make it stronger. An author can refer to a specific example or make specific claims that reinforce a main idea. For example, an author might use data or a citation from something that an author said to call attention to increased water pollution in their state, and then include a personal story about fishing in a polluted river in order to reinforce or make their point stronger. If you reinforce a building by putting up things that are going to keep it from collapsing, you are making that building stronger. It can weather any kind of a storm. You want to reinforce your position whenever you're writing a paper, so that whenever people try to assault your ideas or try to prove their points instead, your points are going to be stronger because you've used citations and you've used things that are going to help reinforce your ideas. Term number 8 is restate. To restate something is to say or perform it again. If I say that definition of to say or perform again, I'm restating it. I'm saying it over. When you restate something, you say or write it again. This word isn't only used to refer to exact repetition, however. A passage could restate an idea using different terms. And you could restate the main idea of a passage using your own words. As long as it gets that main point across, you're restating it. Moving towards the end, we have term number 9, develop. To develop something is to elaborate, as of theories and hypotheses. When you see the word develop on a test, it usually has to do with developing ideas throughout a piece of writing. Typically, a writer cannot make his or her case in just one sentence. It's not strong enough. A good argument requires that the writer develop their ideas over the course of several paragraphs. You need to have a developed argument in order to win that argument. You need several points to back it up. A well-developed argument is more likely to win, and more likely to receive a better grade. Term number 10 is convey. To convey something is to serve as a means for expressing something. To convey is just to communicate, either directly or indirectly. You might be asked about the ideas a writer is trying to convey in their work. If I convey a message or some information to somebody, it means I communicated that message to somebody, whether directly through my words or indirectly through something like my actions or the way that I look. If I look sad, that might convey more about my feelings than saying I'm sad ever could. Those are our 10 words and definitions for this week's list of vocabulary having to do with testing. Please review these, go over them, and good luck on any test that you take with these words in them.